So the reason why I bought a school bus is it's a very unique vehicle. Everyone knows what a school bus is. If you meet someone who doesn't, you just say it's like this big yellow bus they drive in The Simpsons or something like that. Then everyone has this picture of exactly like a school bus that looks like this in front of their eyes, basically. That, like, with this dog nose, this very unique look, huge yellow thing with lots of windows, and that's actually what this bus is as well, from the outside, definitely. And I thought it would be nice to have a big bus so you can actually live in, and you're not that compressed basically to your living area, and just you have all the luxurious or all the luxury of a normal apartment basically, or a house. So you have your bed and your shower, and you can charge, and you're basically off-grid as well at the same time. And the bus is just a very comfortable apartment on wheels. You can park whatever scenery you want basically. And the other idea was as well, I have my own business, so I can take the bus, and I did actually this year. I can fill it up with tools. I can go out to a customer, to a work site, and I can be there and build and work 10-12 hour days, be incredibly efficient and stay on site, have all the luxury I need for the evenings and to make food and sleep well and all these things. So I feel like it's a really cool way to be out working and and be out living. And then of course we use it a lot for camping, weekend vacations, long trips in the summer. Just in October we went north in Sweden to like the high coast, and it was incredible. It's incredible in nature everywhere you go, and with the bus you're off grid, you're independent, you don't need anything. So I can't think of a better way of traveling or of exploring basically the country, the world. Here we're mostly shoes and jackets and like stuff you need when you go outside. And here we have the diesel heater. That's a 4 kilowatt diesel heater. It sits right on top of the diesel tank, so it takes the diesel right from the tank, which is no problem since we have so incredibly much. And then you can see these black outlets, which are basically all over the bus. It's 11 pieces, and they are like it's like basically like a U I've laid into the bus, which starts here from the diesel heater and goes all the way to the bathroom. And you can close them and regulate where you want to blow hot air. And it even, if I close all the outlets, then it just blows out at the feet, at the windows in the bedroom. So all the cold air from the windows, you can say, gets flushed with hot air. So it's very nice and cozy in the bedroom actually. And yeah, what you basically do, I think it's around 10 meters of pipes just to control where the hot air is flowing, with also a decrease from like a 90mm pipe to a 60, so you don't lose the flow in these 10 meters. So it still has pressure and last outlet basically. Here we have for our fireplace. So what we figured from the beginning, we only use like hardwood, like birch and stuff like that, and oak to burn. But what I found out is way more efficient to have like a little fire basket and fill it up with pellets, fire it up, put it into the fireplace. It lasts much longer, gives less heat, but this is a 10 kilowatt fireplace, which is way oversized for this square meter in this bus. So we found out the pellets burns longer with less heat, and that's exactly what we need to keep it basically the whole night steady warm. The fireplace here is, first of all, you want to make sure it's not too hot around, or there are no combustion or combustible materials around it that could be affected by the heat. So through the roof we have of course like a double wall pipe, and then we have around 7-8 centimeters of like ceramic insulation around it, which is not flammable. And then we have these stainless steel plates to just cover the wood here. And I've taken it down after a year of using, and it looks like it does on these parts. So it's unaffected by the heat actually. And same as around here, we have like, here you can see it, we have stainless steel all around and on the floor. Then we have like a non-burnable fiber cement board, and then it's also ventilated behind. So you can see that here we have small holes. That means air can circulate behind these two boards and circulate and ventilate behind, so there's never any heat problems here. And it's completely fireproof, this whole section where the fireplace stands. And then it's also bolted through the floor, so it doesn't move anywhere. Even if there would be a emergency situation or emergency brake, you wouldn't have any problems to that. There's everything is secured in this bus to withstand quite a lot, I would say. The insulation of the bus, we decided to use like a polyurethane foam insulation for a couple of reasons. That it's basically like it is watertight. If you have these closed cell structures, it gives actually a kind of structure. So if you think of the sheet metal we use to blind the windows, if you spray this foam on the inside, it basically becomes like a piece of board. It becomes incredibly stiff and hard, and that's also a bonus basically. So in the beginning, as I said, we bolted the roof rack through the whole construction when it was completely stripped, and after that we dragged all the electric pipes, basically 2 on each side, 2 on each side in the ceiling, and then like 2 in the floor. And after that was done, we did all these like we what do you say, we used all kind of wooden beams to attach to the existing metal construction to be able to attach all the furniture and stuff like that to the wooden beams. There we also used I used like a kind of aluminium bitumen in between. You don't want to have wood and metal meeting, so that's also the case. And then after that was done, you tape all the wood, you tape all the windows, you tape everything you don't want to have foam on. And then we went to a friend of mine who sprayed it completely, and we talk about 80 to between 70 to 90 millimeters of foam insulation here. And that's a really serious insulated bus actually. And the double insulated windows, they also do their trick. So there's absolutely no condensation on these double windows. Of course, the worst part is the front, where we have this laminated glass, you call them, and the doors, and that's where the most cold gets in. But other than that, the bus is incredibly well insulated, I would say, and it keeps the heat quite long. And even in the summer, it stays rather cool in here if you have the windows closed and you ventilate in the morning, and then you just have the shades on or something like that. The reason why I chose an American school bus was basically I was looking into these big Mercedes buses as well, these 508 or something like that. But I figured there are quite a lot of those already built, already done in Europe at least. And I figured if you want to have a unique look and a kind of a special bus, it should be a school bus actually, because how many school buses are in Europe? And I mean, maybe a couple dozen of school buses are driving around in Europe, and a couple handfuls are just built to or converted to like a tiny house. So I thought this is the right thing for me to have. But then we're not in the United States, so it's quite difficult to find a bus like this in Europe. And just to import it in the US is not easy either. And all the biggest problem are of course the customs and the taxes, import taxes and stuff like that. So we've been looking around 2 years to find a school bus, and even talked with people in the United States and talked with lots of people in Europe who have a bus already, how they've done it. And it was basically just an accident that we found the bus on eBay actually, eBay marketplace you could say. And it was a German guy selling a bus in Spain with already German registration. So that was a big bonus basically. The only downside was it was 7.5 tons down registered basically. So the max weight was limited to 7.5 tons. And well, nevertheless, I called the guy and I asked about the condition of the bus, and it was a rather quick talk. And then I just said, let's talk real. How much money do you need to get if I drive down to Spain and get it and pay cash and I pick it up, we take it off your hands? And we figured out the price, and we went down to Spain the next week, you could say, and bought a bus off the internet. and drove it up to Sweden for like, I think it was 5,000 kilometers on the car and like 3,000 kilometers on the bus. And we drove around roughly a week it took to drive up here, driving all day, staying in nice bed and breakfast hotels at night and have nice dinner. We were three guys, me and my friend driving the bus and my dad driving the car we took down to Spain. So it was an amazing trip, around 2,000 euros in diesel. So not too bad overall, I would say.
If you would have done it again, would you have done something differently?
Maybe the problem with that bus was it was a little damaged on the sides. It must have had an accident sometimes in the United States. And I think it was in the United States because we were talking about like 20 millimeters of like, what do you say, filler or putty on the outside. And I don't know crazy people in Europe who do this kind of fixes. For instance, you know, on the outside of the bus there are these rub rails. They're usually black. And they were completely smashed flat, but still they had still this B profile just made out of filler over freaking 8 meters. It was very well done, but you shouldn't have that much filler on a car. So I would pay more attention to this kind of things, to the exterior work, to be able to analyze how hard it's going to be to paint, to do the paint job, to paint it in a different color. And the next bus I should cut all the windows, lift the roof 1/2 meter, have a massive rack again, have it higher, bigger, bolder, and maybe not yellow the next one. We'll see. But I love the interior. I'm very satisfied with all the choices I made. I don't want to change anything. I just want to maybe add a couple things in the future to improve some kind of things. But I'm really happy, and I thought it's even to buy the bus there in Spain. In Europe, you have to think about that. Let's say in the United States, you go on Marketplace, Facebook, and you find maybe 100 buses that are for sale right now in your area. In Europe, you go on like a kind of marketplace and there will be maybe one for sale. So it's not like you can choose buses. You have to see what's on the market and you have to basically take what's there. But I'm happy with the bus. It could be, of course, it could be a bit newer, it could be a bit bigger engine or more horsepower and stuff like that. But overall, this is not made for racing. It's made for traveling, basically. So I really love it. I enjoy everything of this bus, and I would absolutely build another one, a bigger one, a smaller one, a double decker, whatsoever. So the list is very long of ideas, and I'm into doing another project rather soon, sooner than later.
And how much it was the bus and all the build?
You could say the bus in Europe we talk about like 25,000 euro, and then to build you could say roughly around between around 40,000 maybe for all the hardware, and that doesn't include any hours. I wrote down some hours I did, or most of them at least, and you end up in the like 2,500 region of hours of labor hours you put into stuff like that. And of course you could have done it quicker, but it was the first one as well, and I was very very accurate with all this stuff. If it wasn't like 100% tight fit, I would do it again and again. Just this epoxy wall you saw, it's like I did one prototype, it has no epoxy cover, just like an oil cover on it, and it cracked one winter we used it, so I did it another time. But that's just a freaking day of work to do like a wall this size basically. So everything takes very long, but that's also why I'm so satisfied now and why I don't want to change anything. I know lots of people, they smash up a van in a couple of weeks, and then next year they rebuild already the whole thing because they're unsatisfied with the result or with the finish or whatsoever. So I really said in the beginning, I don't want to spend this much money, this much time, and this much energy on it to redo something. So yeah.
And you have Instagram where you documented all the
absolutely. So I even started this Instagram before I even had a bus. So because it was the idea to have an account to get in touch with others who have a bus already, to like communicate how to do it. So and then the first couple pictures are just like that. I would like to get a bus. If someone has an idea, they could try to help me or get in touch with me. And then I even went to see a company who is doing like bachelor trips and stuff with school buses, just to see what a school bus is. Because I even meet lots of people in Sweden, for example, and they're like, wow, I know what a school bus is, but I've never seen one in real life. So it's that unique in Europe, you could say. And yeah, my Instagram basically is a building block to document from from when it not even had a bus to where we are right now, and all in between, like the building process, the when I brought it from Spain, how it looked before, how it looks now, some tips and tricks how I did stuff. So it's like a building block basically from start to finish.
And what's the name of it?
It's called the Wayfarer bus. So it's a Swedish schoolie, I call it, and it's worth checking out. And if there are any questions, it's just to write me and see, hey, how can I do this, or do you have some tips or some ideas or some help or whatsoever, or just if you have good vibes and nice words to say, then that's the right message to send.
Right. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Instagram account of Henrik I will leave in description below, and see you the next one. Bye.